In this video, we're going to talk a bit further about ranges and particularly hand reading ranges, and primarily a concept that I call the funnel concept. So we introduced the concept of ranges, but I want to go a bit further and I want to make sure that I depict this process, because by the time we get into the portions of this course where we're going to be doing some hand demonstrations and some different scenarios and some live play, I want you to understand my process of narrowing down the range of my opponent's hands. And so what you see here on the right is a funnel. So this is depicted as a funnel. And this is my way of simplistically thinking about how we can narrow down our opponent's range from the pre-flop play all the way down to the river play. So what we do is during the pre-flop play, our opponent's ranges are going to be the widest. So based upon their action, let's say that somebody has a very wide stealing range on the button, we're going to assign them a perceived range pre-flop. And then when the flop comes, based upon the actions that they take on the flop, and then the turn, and then the river, we're going to start narrowing their ranges. So on the flop, based upon the board texture and what they do, we're going to deduce, okay, well, what type of a range would they do this with? And with that range that we start out with here at the pre-flop, we're going to start narrowing it down. And then if the hand goes to the turn, we're going to do the same thing again. And then finally on the river, we're going to do it again. So the ranges are always going to get smaller as we go from pre-flop to the flop to the turn in the river. One thing to understand is that ranges cannot get bigger. If we assign our opponent a specific set range of hands pre-flop, we can't start just adding hands within that range, or at least we shouldn't start adding hands within that range on the flop and the turn in the river. Because if we are, that means we didn't do a very good job of initially assigning them a range pre-flop. So I just want you to understand this, and I think this is just a good way to visualize the process of how ranges get smaller and how we go about doing this of narrowing down ranges from pre-flop play all the way down to the river play as we progress in a hand. So we're not going to do any examples because I don't want to start muddling in pre-flop and post-flop theory and strategy with some examples now. I want to make sure we actually get into those sections and then we start applying this. But for you to understand this whole process, I think it's important that I at least introduce it now, the concept of the funnel concept. I don't know if any other poker coaches use it, but it's something that I've used for quite some time, and Personally, I think it's really great. So anyways, if you have any questions, please let me know. If not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.